Inspiring millionaire returns home early. Discovers amazing secret that changes everything. Josh Miller pulled into the familiar streets of his childhood town, the engine of his luxury SUV rumbling softly as he glanced around. The colors of autumn painted the trees bright orange and gold, but the beauty was overshadowed by dilapidated storefronts and faded signs advertising businesses that had long since closed. Once alive with laughter and camaraderie, his hometown now felt like a hollow shell of itself. Each bend in the road unearthed memories of simpler times, like racing down to the local diner with his parents. The smell of burgers sizzling on the grill mingled with the warmth of summer nights spent playing with friends, but with every turn, Josh felt a tightening in his chest. The quaint boutiques he loved had been replaced by for sale signs, and the big box stores on the outskirts loomed like giants, casting a shadow over the town's dreams. A knot twisted in his stomach, one he could not shake. At the town hall meeting later that week, Josh watched as the tension in the room thickened. A divide was palpable. The old guard, a collection of hard-working folks, stood up for their community. Among them was his father, grim-faced but unwavering, his gravelly voice filled with worry as he shared his fears about the corporation's plans that threatened to erase everything they held dear. "This is our home," he proclaimed, brow furrowed and hands trembling slightly. Josh felt the weight of that moment. He was a millionaire, yet it felt like he had little more than paper in his wallet when it came to building bridges with his father. Desperate to find common ground, he dove deeper into the town's hidden stories. It was then that he stumbled upon whispers of an initiative led by local veterans, a mentorship program aimed at empowering residents to reclaim their small businesses and restore their town's spirit. The thought lit a spark of hope in him. This was his chance, his opportunity not only to reconnect with the father he had kept at arm's length but to help revive a community that had shaped him into the man he was today. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, but as he began to rally support for the program, he faced waves of skepticism from friends and family. "What do you know about us?" they would say. "You're just another corporate suit." Every word cut deep. Josh felt the familiar pangs of judgment, yet he didn't waver. Standing before an audience one cold evening, he prepared to make a stand. This was more than a town, it was a fabric woven with memories, resilience, and love. "For too long, we've felt powerless," he implored, heart pounding, recounting the stories of the veterans and his own childhood. "We confuse our traditions with new ideas without losing who we are." The mere act of speaking his truth sent ripples through the crowd, and then, just before the corporate giants could challenge him, his phone buzzed in his pocket. A shocking revelation linked to his family's past flashed on the screen, filling him with trepidation. It was a moment of reckoning, leaving him at the edge of uncertainty. Could he write not only his story but also that of a town yearning for hope and healing? The road ahead was fraught with challenges, yet it pulsed with promise. Josh stared at his phone, the vibrant screen dulling the clamor of the meeting around him. The text message practically screamed at him, "Josh, you need to know the truth about your grandfather. It's about the old mill." His heart raced. The old mill? That dilapidated building perched near the river, where he and his friends had crept in as kids, imagining it was a fortress. Memories rushed back, the thrill of adventure, the smell of the river, the secrets whispered in its shadow. He excused himself from the meeting, his pulse quickening with each step. Outside, the autumn air was sharp, the sky stretching wide like an open book waiting to be written. He leaned against his car, heart thumping, as he thumbed the message. Curiosity quickly turned to a physical tug as images of his family flooded his mind, the tales his grandfather used to weave about the town's history, the way his eyes sparkled as he spoke of the mill's glory days. Sitting back in the SUV, Josh's fingers danced over the screen to reply. He needed answers. "What do you mean?" He typed quickly, sending the message with a shaky breath. He couldn't shake the sense that the revelation could change everything. Just moments before he had felt fierce determination, the will to fight for his hometown and mend his relationship with his father. But now, it felt like there was a whole other landscape of secrets beneath his feet. As he waited for a reply, a cool breeze rustled the leaves above him, almost as if nature itself was urging him to discover more. Suddenly, his phone vibrated again. The message read, "Your grandfather was key in saving the mill from the original developers, and there's something you need to see." Josh's mind raced. The mill was always a point of pride, a place that embodied the town's spirit, where generations had toiled. If his grandfather had fought for it, could he have left behind something that tied them to the land still? What if this secret was the cornerstone for rallying the townsfolk to reclaim their community? He was snapped back to the present as the town hall doors swung open. His father stepped out, looking troubled, wringing his hands. "Josh." The worry in his father's voice made his heart sink. The man who had fought so long for this town now wore defeat like a heavy cloak. "Dad," Josh took a deep breath, weighing the importance of the moment. His father's eyes locked onto his with a mix of hope and fear. "I think I found something. It's about the mill." His dad's expression shifted, a flicker of recognition in his gaze. "What do you mean? What if we could revive it? The mill, the heart of this town, and tie it to what your father fought for?" A long pause hung between them, heavy with the years they had spent apart. Finally, his father nodded slowly, but the shadows of doubt still flickered across his face. "It's going to take a lot, son." Josh felt the weight of that challenge settling on him. "I'm ready," he replied, determination flaring anew in his chest. "Together, we can do this." As they turned back toward the town hall, a warmth spread through him, an underlying current of hope connecting father and son. But with each step, another voice echoed in his mind, a whisper that something far deeper lay below the surface, hidden within the legacy of his grandfather. And as they headed back inside to face the uncertain future, Josh couldn't shake the feeling that other truths were waiting to reveal themselves, secrets that could change everything. What might he uncover next? As they stepped back into the town hall, the atmosphere buzzed with the chatter of concerned residents. Groups huddled together, their expressions a mix of worry and hope. The impending redevelopment loomed over them like a shadow, and Josh felt the weight of his next decision pressing against his chest. Every face he passed seemed to look to him as a beacon of potential change. "Josh! There you are!" shouted Tina, the town's history enthusiast. She rushed over, her notebook clutched tight against her chest. "I've been waiting to hear what's going on. We need every hand on deck if we're going to stop this mill from being lost forever." "Trust me, I've got something that might help us," Josh replied, his heart racing. He exchanged a glance with his father, who seemed momentarily reassured by Tina's fierce spirit. For the first time in a long while, the thought of teamwork lightened Josh's burden. Tina's eyes sparkled with excitement. "What do you mean? What did you find?" Josh hesitated. Part of him wanted to spill everything, the secrets, his grandfather's fight, the legacy embedded in the mill. But a layer of caution held him back. "I got a message about my grandfather. We might have a way to preserve the mill, to show everyone what he did to save it. We need to bring the community together. Then we should start a meeting right now," she insisted, her voice firm. "Let us gather everyone and share your idea. People need to hear this." With that, Tina whirled around, rallying the townsfolk like a seasoned commander. Josh exchanged another look with his dad, who seemed to be processing all the pieces. The tiniest hint of a smile cracked his otherwise serious demeanor. The old town hall room soon filled with eager faces, all turned toward Josh, who stood at the front alongside his father. As he looked out at them, he could feel the tension and anticipation bubbling in the air. Their shared history echoed in that space, filled with laughter, sorrow, and hopes for a brighter future. "Thank you all for coming," Josh began, his voice wavering slightly. "It was now or never. I know we've faced many challenges lately, but preserving the mill could not only save a piece of our history but mend this community. My grandfather fought hard to protect it from developers years ago, and I think he left us something significant, a way to fight back." A murmur of surprise traveled through the crowd. Heads turned to his father, who nodded solemnly, his eyes glimmering with recognition. "What did he leave behind?" someone called out from the back. "I don't know yet." Josh chuckled nervously, "but that's why we need to gather, to dig a little deeper. We might find something that could unite us and bring life back to the mill." That sparked a ripple of energy. People exchanged whispering glances, slowly rising from their seats as they began to connect the dots of the tales threaded through their community fabric. His dad stepped forward, that familiar fire igniting in his eyes. "Everyone, we need all hands on deck. If we work together, I believe we can find a way to bring back the mill, honor my father's legacy, and stand against the developers. It's time to fight for the heart of our home." A wave of applause surged through the room, filling Josh with warmth. Hope swelled like the tide crashing against the shore, washing over him, and for the first time in ages, he felt a powerful sense of purpose. But just as the excitement buzzed like electricity, his phone buzzed in his pocket again. He pulled it out to see another message. This one read, "Meet me at the mill, there's something you need to see that will change everything." Josh's heartbeat faltered for a moment. What could that possibly mean? As the applause faded, he looked back up at the crowd, excitement mingled with another layer of uncertainty. "We have some serious work ahead of us," he started, "but first, I might need to take a quick detour." His father raised an eyebrow. "A detour?" "Yeah," Josh said, feeling torn yet adventurous. "I have to check something at the mill." As he glanced at the faces filled with hope and anticipation, he felt a mixture of exhilaration and fear. What awaited him at the old mill? He turned toward the door, anticipation bubbling in his chest. Would this lead to the truth he was seeking, or would it send him down another winding road of discovery? Just as he stepped outside, the wind whipped past him, carrying whispers of the past and hints of the future. What awaited him in that fragile place where childhood memories melded with family secrets? The mill loomed ahead, its silhouette more pronounced against the fading light of dusk. Each step felt heavier, weighted by curiosity and a tinge of dread. The old wooden structure, with its peeling paint and rusting machinery, stood as a testament to a past Josh had only begun to understand. As he approached, the rustle of the wind seemed to carry echoes of laughter, heartbreak, and untold stories. His heart thumped louder as he turned the rickety doorknob. The familiar creak of the hinges sent a shiver down his spine. Inside, the air was dense with dust and memories, the light filtering through cracked windows illuminating motes that danced like tiny fairies. This place felt alive, as if it were holding its breath, waiting for his arrival. "Hello?" he called out, voice almost swallowed by the stillness. No answer came, but he sensed he wasn't alone. He pulled out his phone, checking the message again. There was no name attached, just the cryptic invitation. "Meet me at the mill," it read. "There's something you need to see." Josh felt a mix of excitement and wariness. Who had sent this? And what could possibly be waiting for him? As he ventured deeper into the mill, the echoes of his footsteps ricocheted off the walls. Then, suddenly, he heard something, a shuffle, a whisper. He stopped, heart racing. "Is someone there?" He stammered. From behind an old machinery that had long ceased to turn, a figure emerged. It was a woman, her hair wild and unkempt, yet her eyes sparkled with familiarity. "Josh," she said softly, and his breath caught in his throat. "Lily?" He blinked, hardly believing his eyes. This was the girl he had grown up with, the one he had lost touch with after moving away. Their shared childhood dreams had once interwoven like threads in a tapestry, and now, here she was, standing before him like an apparition. "Yeah, it's me," she smiled, that smile lighting up the dim room. "I've been coming here for years. Your grandfather showed me the ropes, and there's so much you don't know." "Why did you call me here?" he asked, stepping closer, grounding himself in the reality of her presence. What is going on? I found something, she replied, her voice dropping to a whisper as if the very walls would eavesdrop. Something he left behind. I think it could change everything. About the mill, about the redevelopment. His mind raced, all the pieces starting to intertwine. What do you mean? What did you discover? Lily pointed toward a hidden corner of the room, shrouded in darkness. Come look. He followed her as she pulled aside an old tarp, revealing a battered, wooden chest. It was covered in dust but still sturdy. The sight of it sent Josh's pulse racing. What is this? What's inside? I think it holds your grandfather's plans, his vision for the mill. Proof that he had dreams for it that go beyond just keeping it running. And if we can find a way to present this, it might give us the leverage we need against those developers. Josh's breath hitched. Everything he needed to fight for their home, for their history, was here. This could help save the mill. He said, eyes widening. But then doubt crept in. But what if it leads to more questions? What if we open doors that should stay closed? Lily looked him in the eye, determination shining fiercely. Or it could give us the power to make a real change. Your grandfather's legacy is more than just the mill, it's about the community. We have to take this chance. He nodded slowly, feeling the tremor of hope spark in his chest once again. But would it be enough? As he reached for the chest to lift the lid, his phone buzzed again, almost like it was warning him. Was this the moment he'd been waiting for? Or would it open floodgates he could never hope to close? With every breath, he weighed the risks, a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside him. The mill was not just an old building, it was the heart of his family, and now, it could be the lifeblood for the town. As he opened the chest with a shaky hand, a rush of anticipation surged through him. Whatever lay within was bound to set his course. Would he find a treasure worth fighting for, or simply a truth that might shatter everything? The lid creaked as Josh lifted it, revealing what lay hidden inside. Dust motes swirled, catching the light in a dance that felt almost sacred. His heart raced as he peered into the chest, a stack of fragile documents, weathered photographs, and yellowed blueprints unfurled like the pages of a time-worn book. The air felt charged, electric. What is all this? He barely got the words out, his voice shaking with wonder. Lily leaned closer, her fingers skimming over the papers. These are his plans for the mill. He envisioned expanding it, turning it into a community hub, a place where people could gather, create, and connect. Her voice vibrated with excitement, and Josh could see her dream intermingling with his own. Josh's mind whirled. This wasn't just about saving the mill. It was about a vision that could breathe new life into their community. The thought ignited a fire in his chest. This is incredible, Lily. But why would he keep these hidden? That's what we need to figure out, she replied, her voice lowering again. But I think it's because he knew it was never just about the mill. It was about people. It always was. He lifted the blueprints carefully, his fingers traced the intricate designs, his grandfather's handwriting scrawled across the sheets. Each letter felt like a heartbeat from the past, connecting him to the man who had once filled his childhood with stories of dreams and possibilities. I'm scared, though, he murmured, pulling away to glance at Lily. What if this puts us in danger? Those developers will do anything to push through their plans. I get that, she said, meeting his gaze with unwavering resolve. But your grandfather had hope for this place. He believed in it. If we hold on to that, maybe we can make this work. The weight of those words settled heavily in the air between them. Could they really fight back against the encroaching development? Heart racing, he looked over the documents again, images of happy families, bustling businesses, the sense of community that could be theirs once more. The buzzing of his phone interrupted the moment, jolting him back to reality. With a reluctant sigh, he glanced at the screen. It was a message from his mother. Josh, we need to talk. It's important. What's wrong? Lily asked, her brow furrowing. I don't know. But I have to go, he replied, the urgency in her tone hitting him. I'll come back. I promise. No, wait. She called after him as he stepped back. What about the chest? We can't just leave it here. No, we'll hide it, he said quickly, a rush of adrenaline flooding him. I'll grab it later. We need to keep this safe, don't let anyone know we found it. They quickly covered the chest and tucked it away under the tarp once more. The rush of their clandestine mission made his heart pound. As he turned to leave, the air felt heavier, laden with the weight of history and uncertainty. His mind raced, would he be able to face whatever his mother had to say? Arriving at home, he swapped the thrill of the mill for the knot in his stomach. What news awaited him, and how would it affect their newfound hope? His grandfather's dreams felt like a flickering candle amid the storm. So many questions loomed, but one stood out. Was uncovering the truth about the mill just the beginning, or was something darker waiting to unfold in the shadows? Josh stepped inside the house, the familiar scent of musty old furniture and freshly baked cookies wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. But the warmth that usually engulfed him felt hollow today, overshadowed by the thoughts swirling in his mind. His mother's message seemed like a storm cloud, heavy and ominous. Josh. His mother called from the living room. Her voice was tinged with an urgency that sent a shiver down his spine. He found her sitting at the dining table, papers strewn around like tumbleweeds caught in a windstorm. The worry lines around her eyes deepened as she waved him over. Mom, what is going on? He said, trying to keep his voice steady despite the apprehension gnawing at him. She took a breath, then pushed a pile of papers toward him. I found this in your grandfather's old desk. I thought it was junk, but her voice faltered, a mix of frustration and fear surfacing. But it's not. It's about the mill, Josh. He took a step forward, his heart suddenly thumping like a drum. What do you mean? Some of these are financial documents and contracts, and some. She hesitated, looking at him with tears brimming in her eyes. Some are about the developers. They've been eyeing the mill for a long time. Your grandfather fought them, but he was overwhelmed. Josh felt like the room was spinning. His grandfather had fought for the mill. And here he was, holding those dreams like fragile glass in his hands. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I thought it was just the past, something we could leave behind, she admitted, her voice cracking slightly. But now, with what you and Lily found, it's all connected, isn't it? Josh nodded, the realization washing over him in waves. The hidden chest, the dreams of the community, it was all intertwined. His grandfather had seen the mill as more than just a building, it was a lifeline to the town, a beacon of hope. His mother continued, I didn't want you to get involved, to get hurt. These developers are ruthless. He clenched his fists, determination surging through him. We can't let them take it. We've got to stand up for it. She looked at him, fear and pride mixed together in her gaze. But what if they threaten you? What if they retaliate? I can't bear to see you hurt like your grandfather was. We'll find a way, Mom, he said, feeling the weight of her fears yet refusing to back down. He believed in this place, and I will too. It's more than just a building. It's home. She smiled faintly, wiping away a tear that streaked down her cheek. I just want you safe. But if you're going to fight for it, you'll need to prepare. We might need allies. His heart raced at the thought. Allies? You mean the community? Exactly, she said, her eyes lighting up. You can't do this alone. If we want this to succeed, we need everyone on board. The fire of hope spread within him. Maybe they could rally together, ignite that forgotten spirit of community. But just as Josh felt a flicker of excitement, his phone buzzed again. Glancing at the screen, he frowned. It was an unknown number, but the sense of urgency pulled him toward it. What is it? His mother asked, noticing his shift. I don't know, but I have to see, he replied, tapping the screen. As he read the message, his heart plummeted. It was from a friend, a warning about suspicious activity near the mill. "Mom, we need to act fast," he said, the weight of urgency sinking deep. "Something is happening, and it's not good." He turned away, adrenaline spiking through him. They were in a race now, not just to save the mill, but to uncover the truth. What had his grandfather left behind, and what dangers lurked ahead? As he headed out the door, he couldn't shake the feeling that uncovering their history was just the tip of the iceberg. What if the fight for the mill uncovered something far more sinister lurking in the shadows? Josh sprinted down the driveway, heart racing, ignoring the lingering scent of cookies that had always given him comfort. His focus was the mill, and every step felt like it pulled him closer to both destiny and danger. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on him, pushing him toward the truth. The trees lining the road blurred as he imagined the cold, hard facts hidden away in the old, wooden building he and Lily had discovered. He pictured the creaky floors, the rusting machinery, and the stories poured into its very beams. It struck him that the mill was not just a structure, it was a part of his family, a heartbeat of the community that had been there through thick and thin. That he reached the mill, the shadows stifling as the sun began to dip below the horizon. For a moment, he hesitated, memories flooding back, the laughter of children, the dances held in the yard, and the sound of his grandfather's voice echoing through the hall. This place held the weight of his ancestors' dreams. His phone buzzed again, snapping him back to the present. It was a text from Lily asking if he was okay. He quickly typed back, urging her to meet him at the mill. He needed someone who understood the stakes, someone who had been there through thick and thin. The wind picked up as he stepped inside the mill, the eerie quiet settling around him. It felt alive, yet still every creak a whisper urging him to uncover the past. Pulling his flashlight from his pocket, he moved toward the back where he had seen the chest with Lily. A flash of movement caught his eye. He turned sharply. His stomach knotted as he spotted a dark figure creeping around the corner of the mill. "Hello?" he called, attempting to sound more confident than he felt. No answer, courage flooding him. Josh crept forward. He didn't know what he expected to find. Maybe just a raccoon or an old scrap of metal. But as he turned the corner, he stumbled upon a sight that made his blood run cold. There, standing by the broken machinery, was a man he recognized, one of the developers from downtown. He was rifling through a pile of old documents, a flashlight barely illuminating his intentions. Josh's instincts kicked in. He had to confront him. "Hey!" Josh shouted, voice echoing through the hollow space. "What are you doing here?" The developer jumped, spinning around with a surprised expression. "Josh! You shouldn't be here." The composure once evident in his demeanor shattered into a facade of concern. "What were you looking for?" Josh demanded, stepping forward, eyes narrowing. "You're not supposed to be here." The man hesitated, weighing his options before speaking. "You don't understand," he said, his tone softening, almost pleading. "This isn't what you think. There are things happening that, like taking my family's mill." Josh interrupted, anger boiling within him. "You'll have to go through me, and my mom, and the whole town if you think you can just waltz in here and make decisions without us." The man's gaze flickered to the door behind him, fear splashed across his face. "You need to leave. Now," he urged, glancing back as if expecting someone. "Before it's too late." Josh's heart thudded harder. Was it too late? Were there forces at play he couldn't see? Something deep inside him urged him to dig deeper, to uncover not just the truth about the mill but the truth about this man and the threat looming overhead. Before he could respond, the door swung open, revealing Lily, her face flushed. "Josh, we need to go," she exclaimed, catching the tension in the air. "I don't think we're safe here." Josh looked from the developer to Lily, uncertainty washing over him like a cold wave. It felt like they were standing on the edge of something monumental. "Lily, wait." But before he could explain, the developer reached out, a warning etched in his eyes. "Trust me, boy. You need to get out of here before it goes beyond just the mill." The weight of those words hung in the air, heavy and unsettling. What danger was really lurking? What secrets had his grandfather kept, and now they were surfacing with vengeful intent. Emotions flooded through Josh: fear, anger, determination. The fight was no longer solely for the mill. It was for the safety of his family, his town, and perhaps even truths hidden deep in the past that could change everything. As they turned to leave, Josh felt a surge of resolve. He would uncover whatever lay ahead, no matter the cost. But the question loomed large: would the truth be more than he bargained for? And as the door creaked shut behind them, the shadows swallowed the mill once more, leaving a haunting silence that urged them forward into the unknown. The air outside felt cooler as Josh and Lily hurried away from the mill. Each step carried the weight of unanswered questions, and Josh's mind raced. What had brought the developer here? What was he really looking for? Was there more at stake than just the mill? Josh, Lily said, breaking the silence as they moved down the gravel path. What did he mean by "it's too late"? I don't know, he replied, not wanting to alarm her more than she already was. But it sounded serious. Should we call your mom? She suggested, her brow furrowed in concern. Maybe she knows something. Josh hesitated. His mom had always kept family matters close to her heart, secrets layered like the old mill's creaky beams. If she had been protecting something, would she even tell him? Instead of answering, he locked eyes with her, searching for reassurance. Lily, we need answers. We can't just let it go. As they hurried toward the edge of the woods, a shadow darted behind a tree. Josh's heart dropped. Did you see that? He muttered, gripping Lily's arm. What? She scanned the area, her eyes wide with fear. I think someone's watching us, he whispered, scanning the tree line. Lily jumped at a sudden rustling sound. Maybe we should go back. We shouldn't be here. No. Josh insisted. We can't give up. We need to figure out what's happening, especially if that developer is involved. Pushing forward with determination, they reached the edge of the woods, where the mill faded into the distance. The ominous hum of the nearby river filled the air, a reminder of nature's power. Josh felt it resonating within him. He was on the brink of discovery, and he couldn't turn back. As they neared a clearing, Lily suddenly stopped, her eyes fixed on something. Josh! Look! In the middle of the clearing was an old sign half buried in the ground. Rushing over, they both knelt beside it. The paint was peeling, but the letters still echoed the name of the mill's original owner, a name Josh recognized from his family history. This was his property, Josh said, tracing his fingers over the letters. He was known for protecting the land from outside development. But this isn't all. What do you mean? Lily asked, leaning closer. There are rumors about hidden documents. My grandfather might be found something that could change everything about what they're trying to do. Before she could respond, a voice rang out from behind them. You two shouldn't be here. They turned to see the same developer standing at the edge of the clearing, flanked by two men in dark suits. Panic flooded through Josh, and he felt the fight drain from his body. Why do you keep following us? Josh demanded, trying to mask his fear with defiance. What do you want? The developer's expression was unreadable. I told you to leave it be. There are consequences you can't foresee. Consequences? Josh felt rage bubbling up again. You're the one trespassing. One of the men in suits stepped forward, eyes cold. Your family's legacy is more valuable than you realize. Let us just say knowledge is power, and it could go either way. Josh glanced at Lily, confusion and fear swirling in her gaze. He knew they were in deeper than he ever intended. What are you talking about? He pressed, but the developer shook his head. Just know this, some truths are better left buried. Lily grabbed Josh's arm, her face pale. We need to go, Josh. She was right. They had stirred up trouble and the shadows were closing in. As they turned to run, the echoes of whispered warnings followed them. Josh's heart pounded in his chest, fueled by adrenaline and a sense of urgency. What truths about his family and the mill still lay hidden? With Lily by his side, he knew they had to dig deeper. Yet, as they sprinted away, the looming question in Josh's mind remained: what would happen if they uncovered those truths? Breathless and filled with alarm, Josh and Lily sprinted through the woods, the sound of their hurried footsteps mingling with the rustle of leaves around them. Each branch they brushed against felt like a warning. The words of the developer echoed in Josh's mind, building a pressure in his chest that made it hard to think clearly. "Do you think they're coming after us?" Lily gasped, her voice tinged with fear. "I hope not," Josh replied, glancing over his shoulder to scan the path they had taken. The anticipation of being followed was like thick fog wrapping around him. "But we can't stop until we figure this out." They reached the dense part of the woods where the canopy loomed overhead, casting shadows that felt heavier. Josh pulled Lily aside into a small clearing where they could catch their breath. He could see the worry etched on her face, and it mirrored his own tumultuous emotions. "What if we really are in danger?" she asked, her eyes wide. "I mean, we just came across this huge thing with your family. Then we need to be smart," he interrupted, adopting a more confident tone. "We'll go back to my house, get some supplies, and look through the family records. Maybe there's a clue there." Lily hesitated, her brow knit together. "But your mom, what if she doesn't want us digging into this? What if she knows something and won't share it?" The thought sent chills down Josh's spine. "If she does know something, I have to find out. This involves our families and the mill. I can't let that developer win." Lily nodded, though her lips pressed into a tight line of uncertainty. As they made their way back toward the edge of the woods, the sound of the river grew louder, almost urging them on. The closer they got, the more resolve Josh felt returning. They pushed through the last of the trees and emerged into a fading sunlight canvas smeared with vibrant oranges and deep purples that came with dusk. "Look!" Lily pointed ahead, breaking Josh from his thoughts. "The river, it looks different than before." His gaze followed hers, and he noticed debris piled along the banks where the water had eroded the edges. Suddenly, a glint caught his eye. Squinting, he stepped closer, curiosity edging out fear. "What is that?" he muttered, bending down. The light caught on something solid half submerged in the mud. "I don't know," Lily said, moving closer. "Maybe we shouldn't just give me a second." Josh reached in with careful hands, feeling the coldness of metal. He grappled with whatever it was, and after a few tugs, he pulled out an old metal box that was caked in dirt. Relief poured over him like cold water on a hot day. "What the?" Lily reached for it, her excitement growing. "Open it, Josh." He fumbled with the latch, barely able to contain his eagerness and anxiety. The box opened with a reluctant creak, revealing papers neatly stacked inside. He recognized some of the creased edges family documents. Information he never thought he would see. What if this is what they were trying to hide? Josh whispered, breath hitching. He could feel Lily's eyes boring into him as he shuffled through the papers, revealing old maps, contracts, and letters. "Look." Lily pointed to a document that felt heavier than the rest, its header marked with an unfamiliar seal. "What does it say?" she urged. Josh grasped the paper, reading over it quickly. His eyes widened as he typed in confusion. "It talks about the mill and how the land was meant to be preserved, but there are conditions. If those conditions are violated, then what?" Lily leaned in, shaking slightly. Josh's heart raced as he realized the implications. If they build on this land, the developer might face legal consequences. Before he could finish, Josh became aware of a movement behind them, and every hair on his neck stood. They weren't alone. "Josh," Lily whispered, fear back as she turned pale, but he couldn't pull his eyes away from the figure approaching through the shadows. With his heart pounding harder, he took a step back, gripping the box tightly. There was no turning back now. What would happen when they confronted the truth? Together? Would it bring them peace or more danger? The moon hung high above, casting a silver glow that barely penetrated the thick woods as Josh and Lily stood frozen, the metal box clutched tightly in Josh's hands. The figure emerging from the darkness was unmistakable. It was the developer, his eyes glinting with an unsettling swagger, flanked by the two men from before. Fear crashed over Josh like a tidal wave, but beneath it, a spark of determination ignited. "Didn't I tell you to leave?" The developer spat, stepping closer with an air of aggression. "You're digging in places you shouldn't be. Why are you here?" Josh demanded, his voice steadier than he felt. "You're not giving up on the mill, are you?" The developer glanced back at his associates, then sneered. "I didn't come for a debate. You've messed with things better left untouched. Now you're putting yourself and your little friend in danger." "Danger?" Lily interjected, stepping beside Josh with a newfound fierceness. "What are you hiding? We know the truth now, your plans to destroy our home." A moment of silence stretched, thick with tension. Josh could feel the weight of the metal box in his hands, an anchor tethering him to his purpose. This wasn't just about the mill anymore, it was about standing up for their community, for family legacies worth fighting for. "Do you really think you can protect a dilapidated old structure with whispers of power?" The developer laughed, a chilling sound against the stillness of the night. Josh pressed his lips into a tight line, rallying all the strength he could muster. "We're not just anybody. This land means something to us. It's our history, our lives." Just then, a rustling came from the bushes. Before Josh could react, a group of townsfolk emerged, led by Tina, who held her phone high, its light shining brightly. "We heard everything," she declared, determination writ large on every face. A dozen concerned residents stood behind her, ready to support. The developer's bravado faltered as he glanced around, caught off guard by the sudden shift in the narrative. "You don't understand what you're getting into," he warned, a threat lacing his tone. Yet, the depth of his conviction seemed to wane as the townsfolk stepped closer, their expressions resolute. "I think we do," Tina said, her voice steady. "You're not just a businessman, you're trying to rob us of our home." She locked eyes with Josh, a silent agreement passing between them. They were united now, that was all it took. Josh felt the rising tide of confidence fueled by those around him, their combined voices echoing through the crisp night air as they reaffirmed their commitment to resist the developer. "Your threats mean nothing," Josh declared, stepping forward as the crowd echoed, "We choose community." With a growl of frustration, the developer backed away slowly, retreating with his men toward the shadows. "You'll regret this," he shouted, but as they faded from view, Josh felt a surge of triumph. Josh turned to face his friends and neighbors, the joy radiating from within him. This was the moment he had longed for, a convergence of courage and solidarity that shook the very foundations of fear. "Let us go back to the mill," Josh said, heart racing. "We have to get the plans we found and show everyone that we can fight for our history." Tina nodded, her expression filled with pride, and the townsfolk rallied behind him, a wave of determination igniting the air. They moved together as one entity, reclaiming the path toward their shared heritage. As they reached the old mill, the moonlight bathed it in an ethereal glow, a symbol of hope reborn. Josh and Lily rushed inside, guided by the faint silver light, to the hidden chest that held their family's legacy. The anticipation hummed through the crowd as they opened it together, unearthing the documents that bore witness to their past and the promise of their future. "This is our chance," Lily said, her eyes shining as they unveiled the intricate blueprints. "We can turn this around." "We will," Josh affirmed, pulling them all in toward the plans that linked their histories together. "Let us honor our ancestors and protect what they fought for." Fueled by their legacy and infused with hope, they worked diligently, formulating a plan to not only save the mill but to restore the community spirit that once thrived. As the sun began to rise, casting golden rays upon the town, the promise of a new dawn emerged, illuminating their way forward. The truth had set them free to stand tall, to act boldly, and to defend their home. As they turned their eyes to the future, their hearts resonated with the legacy of love, resilience, and a community restored, and so, they stepped into the light, ready to face the challenges ahead united as one. Now it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to not miss our next exclusive stories that uplift and inspire. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the spirit alive. Comment below your feelings about this amazing transformation. And don't wait not even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this story of hope. True fans know supporting the channel is how we keep the stories flowing.